Yeah, we can start.
Yeah. So, yeah, any queries about the unit 1 and unit 2? Do you have any? Or shall we proceed with the unit 3?
I think we can proceed with Unit 3.
Okay. So, today we are going to have unit 3, 4, and 5. Three units we will cover. And in unit 3, we will understand about various major ecosystems. Broadly, we can say in our planet Earth, we already have known that we have largest ecosystem is our biosphere. This was our biosphere, and we have three components: lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So, in this biosphere, which is the largest ecosystem, two major places are there in which life can exist. That is on land, which is called lithosphere, and in water, which is called hydrosphere. So, based on these two major part of the ecosystem, major part of the planet Earth, we have divided the ecosystem into two parts. That is our terrestrial and aquatic. So we have two type of major ecosystems: terrestrial, which is the ecosystem present on the lithosphere or the land area, and the aquatic systems, which is in the water area or hydrosphere. So what are the terrestrial ecosystem? Terrestrial ecosystem can be forest, grassland, or desert. So anything, any ecosystem which is on land, that will be called as a terrestrial ecosystem. And any ecosystem which is there in the water bodies, whether it is a lake, ocean, estuaries, wetlands, lakes, these are called aquatic ecosystem. So in this unit, we will understand about these major ecosystem. So we will begin with the terrestrial ecosystem. So first is our forest ecosystem. As you know, large area of the land is in the form of forest. So these forests range from tundra to boreal forest to mixed temperate forest, temperate deciduous forest, subtropical forest, and tropical forest. These are different type of forest which occurs on this planet Earth, on this globe, and the type of forest will change depending on the soil condition, depending on the climate, whether it is a hot climate, whether it is an arid climate, whether it is a cold climate, or the topography. Topography is what? It is the height of that land with respect to the sea level. So, if any area is on the high altitude, then the forest will be different than in the plains. Okay, so the soil, climate, and the topography, these are the three main things. These are the three main edaphic factors which affect the distribution of trees. And it also define the abundance of trees in a forest. For example, if there are, it's a very conducive environment, conducive climate, so there will be more number of trees. And when the temperature, soil, it is not so conducive, then the distribution of plants or trees will be very less. For example, in we can say in desert area, or in cold desert area like we have in tundra, very cold places, the plant number of plants will be very less in per unit square of area. Okay. Similarly, this is the forest area. Second one is the grassland area. What is called grassland ecosystem? In Africa, we have a lot of area which is covered by the grassland ecosystem. Basically, these are ecosystems in which grasses are formed, not trees. Trees are big and large trees, but grasslands are small trees, small plants which are generally of the family grasses. So these area have rainfall very less, between the 25 to 75 centimeter per year. So they cannot support a forest. So they can support only small grasses. So there are two major type of grassland ecosystems, steppes and savannas. I think you all knows because it is very much common in Africa, savanna forest and steppes forest. Steppes forest, grasslands. Steppes grasslands, these are generally the forage which are developed in the wet season. I mean, when there is more of rainfall, then in that area, steppes will formed, and savanna will be formed in the area when when there is an area of both wet and dry season. Then third type of a terrestrial ecosystem is desert. You already know Africa has the largest desert, Sahara deserts. So it is the area which is which is having rainfall less than 25 centimeter on annual scale. So, and these are very hot areas, and even the rainfall is not evenly distributed. Let us look into the African map, how these forests are distributed across the Africa. You can see in this arid area, this brown color, light brown and dark brown color, these are the desert area, which is mainly the Sahara and Sub-Sahara area. So these are the desert area. Then we come to the slightly greener part, that is the dark brown part. This is semi arid desert area. So one is highly arid. So the Sahara region is largest desert of the world, and it is mainly dominated by the xeric shrub plants, and support a very semi-arid area. Then the slightly greener part, when we come more closer to the equator, so there is a much more greener part. The dense green part is the tropical rainforest. So this is the having the highest uh, dense forest in the Africa. So the tropical rainforest, they have very large trees, and they have very broad leaves. So the texture of the forest and the abundance of trees in a forest differs with respect to the amount of the rainfall and the temperature gradient they are facing. So in lighter green part, we have a grass savanna area. So when the rainfall is very heavy, then it can form the rainforest, and when the rainfall is very less in these part of area, then it is forming the savanna. So this is the distribution of various type of forest type and the various terrestrial ecosystems within the African region. So now we come to the aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem are those ecosystems which are present in the water area of the planet Earth. So depending on the salinity content, what is the salt content of the water? There are three major type of ecosystem. First one is the freshwater ecosystem. Then second one is the marine ecosystem. And third one is the in between of them, that is called brackish water ecosystem. So the freshwater ecosystem is the ecosystem which is having salinity which is almost 0 to zero point 0.5 ppt, parts per thousand. I mean very less salt content. And this is the water which can be used for human consumption. This is the water which is used for the our industrial setup. This is the water which is used for our agriculture system. So basically, freshwater ecosystem is the water which is present in the lakes, pond, swamp, springs, freshwater streams, rivers. So this all the ecosystem they have fresh water. Fresh water. This means that it has very minute amount of salt content. Okay. So the high on the highest scale we come to the marine ecosystem. So across the your African country, you have on one part you have Indian Ocean, in other area you have Atlantic Ocean. So all the oceanic area, they have marine ecosystem. The salt content of the oceans are more than 3.5 ppt. It means when we take water, then the salinity content is more than 3.5 grams per liter of the water. Then third type of brackish ecosystem is brackish water ecosystem. These are the areas of water ecosystems which is formed when the fresh water system meet with the open area or open ocean. Okay, so when the river meet with the ocean, during that area, a lot of estuaries are formed, salt marshes are formed, mangrove swamps are formed. So these area have a different type of salt content. Why different type of salt content? Because there is an interaction of tidal water from the ocean to river water. So when the high tide comes, the ocean water will enter the river water or the freshwater ecosystem, and it will change the salinity of that area. That's why these areas are called brackish water ecosystem, because they have salinity in between the zero point 0.5 to 3.5 area. So these are all the areas which are the intermixing area of the freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem. Then another type of definition is there for the depending on whether the water is running water or whether the water is still, calm, and standing. So lenting is a term which is called which its literal meaning is calmness or standing or basin. So these are the ecosystems which have calm water. These water is not running. Water is there and it is very calm. So these are the areas of lake, pools, and ponds, swamp, and marshes. Okay. So the next one is a lotic area. Lotic means uh, area. These are the ecosystem in which the water is always running, flowing. It is channel form. Okay, so you must know the plant called lotus. So you can easily understand the lotic term is from the term lotus, and lotus is a plant which it is a water plant which has a very beautiful flower, which is called lotus. And the type of ecosystem are river, stream, springs, which is always the water in that is flowing. You cannot see water as a standstill. Water will be always flowing. Okay, so depending on the type of ecosystem, the plants and animal of these ecosystem will vary. When the water will be flowing, then they should have a plants which can withstand that flowing water. And the water is when the calm or when it is stand still, standing water is there. The plants can be free flowing water, free flowing plants. So many of the blue green algae or these are very sitting. You can see small plant, small ponds which is covered with a green cover. So basically, these are the algae which float on that water. And when the water will be continuously flowing, so you can see the plants which have a very strong hold on the stones or land. So the type of adaptation of the plants vary with respect to the type of ecosystem. Another kind of aquatic ecosystem is based on the nutrient content. If a lake is rich in nutrients, if they have more of the nitrogen, more of the phosphorus, then it is called as a eutrophic lake. And when there is less amount of nutrient, then the number of species will also be less. So there are two major type of lakes: oligotrophic. Oligo means very less nutrient lake, and u means tree, true. So it is highly nutritive lake. So when the nutrient content is high, you can easily see in the bottom figure there are more number of fishes. Large fish is there, small fish is there. Then you can see these small green plants. These are planktons. You can see more of the green planktons. Okay, and this area also have a very wide. Area also have a wide littoral area. This one. Okay, so because of this wider area, this lake is getting more of the nutrients. So the soil and the organic matter of these plants play very important role in the nutrient status of the lake. So any questions about the unit 3?
So far, there's no question, madam.
Okay, so we can move to the block 2. Block 2 is
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah, any questions?
no questions. We can move on to
Oh,
block 2.
okay. Sorry. In block 2, we are going to understand about natural resources. In this block, we are going to have 4 units. Unit 4, that is on land and water resources. Unit 5 on forest resources. Then Unit 6, biodiversity, and Unit 7, energy resources. Sorry. So basically, what is a natural resource? Any anything, any idea what is a resource? What is called as a resource? Resource.
We should define a resource.
Yes. Sorry. Can you give example of a natural resource? What is called resource?
I may find some difficulties in defining it, but an example can be water,
Yeah.
can be vegetation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those are the best examples.
So when we say natural resources, it has two terminologies, natural and resources. When we say natural, it means it is coming from our mother nature. It is given by our planet Earth. Resource means anything which is we are extracting from our mother nature and it is being used by us. So when we say in the terms of economics or in commerce, it is basically all the goods and services which is provided by our environment. Okay. So what are the goods and services by our nature, by our environment? Goods can be like we can get the food, we can get the timber, we can get the medicine. Many medicinal plants are there. We can get the medicine from them. What are the services? Services are the ecosystem services which are provided by our nature. For example, like we know that if we grow more of the trees, then in that area it will be more greenery. So the water will be the air will be purified. Why? Because the green plant will absorb the carbon dioxide and they will release the oxygen. Okay. Similarly, if we say the water body, our lakes, our rivers, what are the services provided by them? We can take the drinking water, we can use the water for our industrial purposes. Then what are these services? Services could be, if there is a water body, then more animals can survive in the aquatic system. Then we can get fish, we can get prawns, we can get many of the aquatic animals. Services can be like, it can be help in a water purification system. When the river water is flowing, then it is absorbing the toxic substance, and it is making the water clear. For example, if we directly throw industrial wastewater into the river, so at that point of time the water will be very dirty. But after some time you will see that because of the flowing nature of the water is redistributed and it is clean now. So this is the self purification services given by a river water. Okay, so this is the services supplied by the environment. So natural resources, anything, any goods and any services which is given by the mother nature or our environment. So we can define resources into two types of resources. One is called renewable and the other one is called non-renewable. Very easy to remember. Renew means anything which can be renewed, which can be regenerated by natural process over a period of time. Okay. For example, if we cut a forest, and we keep that land area as it is, then slowly again the forest can be formed, because in the soil seeds are there, some parts are there, water is there, animal is there. So slowly forest can be regenerated if we do not disturb it much. But this will not be the case in case if we clean the forest and we build a building over there, then this will not happen. It can be happened only when we keep that forest area as it is. Similarly, water is there, aquatic life, the resources which can be regenerated by the natural process over a period of time will be called as a renewable resources. And non-renewable, the resources which cannot be generated very easily. It will take millions of years of time to regenerate. For example, we have coal, petroleum. These are our fossil fuels which are there in the mineral deposits. Similarly, soil is one of the non-renewable sources. Once we remove the topsoil of a area, then it will take much more time to regenerate it. So soil is another example of a non-renewable sources. Let us come to the example of a major renewable sources, that is water resources. Water resource is a renewable sources. Why? Because of the two reasons. One, it is renewable and it can be renewed over time. And second, in the entire earth we have a water cycle. In previous session we have learned about water cycle. So if water is a water is um, if it is diminished from system, again it will be formed by natural process. That's why it is called as a renewable sources. So why there is a scarcity of water? If there are so much, two-third part of our earth is filled with the water, still the water resource is very less. We are having very less water for our consumption. Why? Because we all are depending on fresh water. Fresh water was which water? We just understand about that. The water which is having a salinity of 0 to 0.5 percentage. So the main problem is that on this planet Earth we have so much of water, but the amount of fresh water is less than 3% of the total water. This fresh water is used by humans, this fresh water is used by animals, this fresh water is to be used by our plants for agriculture, this water is to be used by our forest, and this water is also used for our development process like industrial water, for our day-to-day consumption, for drinking purpose, for cleaning purpose. But the percentage of this water is very less. That is why it is one of the scarce water. What is so special about the water? Why water is the most important element? Because water is a chemically it is a universal solvent. It is having a pH of 7, that is neutral water. And it can, what do you mean by solvent? Solvent means anything can easily dissolve in the water. For example, you can take a glass of water, you can add red color, it will become red water. If you add blue color, it will become blue water. If you add a drop of oil and shake it, the small droplet of oil will come in the water. So it can dissolve anything. That's why it's a very important part of life of everyone. It is the most important part because without water, life cannot exist. In our body also, 99% of our body mass is covered with the 99% of our body is water. Without water, we cannot survive. Okay, so this water, the most important thing is that it has a universal solvent. This is the most unique characteristics of water. Then second thing is that because it is having a good, it is good solvent, it is very important chemical agent for weathering of rocks, for soil erosion, for organic matter decaying. What are these processes? These processes are basically formation of a soil. We will understand about this in a minute later. Okay. Then again, we already understood what is brackish water. Brackish water is the water which is having dissolved content between 0.5 to 3.5 percentage, and it is the areas which is having fresh water and sea water combined together. Then marine water, it is again highly saline and it is more than 3.5 ppt, and because of high salinity, the biological activity is very less in this water. Then this was the second type of definition is water can be groundwater or it can be a surface water. Let us understand what is groundwater. Groundwater is the water which is present under the ground. So on within the land area, when we take out the water from a hand pump or we take out water from a well, that is a good example of a groundwater. So basically how the groundwater is formed. Groundwater, how the water will enter in the soil. Let us understand about this with the help of this figure. This is the structure of a rock, and within this the blue color is the groundwater. So basically uh, there are two layers of soil within the land. The first one is zone of aeration and the second one is zone of saturation. So zone of aeration is the area in the soil in which the soil is covered with the both air and water. And zone of saturation is the area of soil in which the gap is completely filled with the water. Let us see this with the help of example. You can see these are the two trees and the roots are there. Okay. So basically this is the, sorry, uh, this is the root of the plants. So this plant can take up the water from the soil and use it for themselves. So these root, what is the property of this roots? They can absorb the water. So this area is having both soil and water. So in agriculture field, you can easily see we have to do the irrigation and then the plant will grow. So the area of this zone where the water is, where the soil is filled with the water and air is called zone of aeration. So basically in this area, the water pressure is less than atmospheric pressure. So more of the air is there. When we go below the soil, this thing, we can see some of the air. This is what blue color part is what? This is saturated zone. In this, all the small part of the soil will be covered, filled with the water. So this will be our groundwater. Then what is water table? Water table is this water table is basically the surface line of the groundwater. So this blue area complete is called groundwater. So when we have a hand pump or when we have a well, we have to bore till this point. Only then we can get the groundwater. Okay. Any questions on this thing? Anything? Any doubts?
Well understood.
Good. So this was the groundwater. Now we come to the surface water. Surface water is the all water which is present on the surface of land. So it can be in lakes, it can be in ponds, it can be in streams, it can be in canals. Canals are what? Canals are the stream which we take out from the river and we use it for the irrigation purpose. Then freshwater wetlands. What are called wetlands? Wetlands are the area of the ecosystems where we get water in some part of the year, like when we have rainfall, then water will accumulate in that particular area, some vegetation will develop, so that area will be called as a freshwater wetlands. So these are the water present on the surface of land. Okay, so what are the issues with the water? Issues is that we are facing lot of water scarcity. We have very less amount of water available. And the second issue is that whatever water is there, it is now getting polluted because less amount of water and because of more of pollution, we are using unhealthy practices. We are using more of the fertilizer, pesticides, industrial waste we are directly putting into the water body, so it is polluting the water bodies. Third is third problem is that we don't have enough conservation methods. Although we are adopting some of the conservation method, but many times we are not using it more frequently. Then there is an inefficient use of water, like we don't save the water. It is very important that we should save water, conserve water. And then next is that naturally sometimes there is a very poor groundwater recharge, because we can see this groundwater recharge, this groundwater is, a lot of this thing depends on the nature of the rock and soil. If there are many rocky area, if there are many water which is catched on the top, then it is possible that water will not be able to come down to the groundwater. So that water which is absorbed by the land will be wasted. So that area will have a very poor groundwater recharge. Recharging is what? Groundwater is basically recharging from the rainfall or the surface area. So if the rock or if the soil quality is not that it can absorb the water, then that area will have very poor potential for groundwater of recharge. Then there is lack of quality in the freshwater resources. This is also one of the major issue. Why water is so much important? Water is so much important because we cannot survive with the water. Also, the food which we are getting is also dependent on the water. We need water for irrigation. We need water for production, agriculture production. Because of the extensive irrigation only, we are able to enhance our agriculture production. So water is very important, and water and food are quite related to with each other. Then what is the major sources of degradation of water? Why why the water is getting depleted? The first major reason is pollution due to heavy agriculture. We have small piece of land, and we are using it as an intensive agriculture, and we are planting more of the plants in that small area, and we are putting more of the fertilizer, pesticides, so that we can go get more of the production. As a byproduct, what we are getting, that pesticide, that fertilizers, these are all polluting our water resources. Because when we put pesticides, chemical on the plants, on the agriculture plants, it will be also dissolved in the water. So it will affect the groundwater recharge also, and it will affect the uh, river water also because of the runoff. Runoff is what? Runoff is the water which is extra water. When a river, when a rainfall occurs, then it will dissolve with the soil, and then it will go along with that water. Because of extensive urbanization, we are clearing lots of forest, and we are converting lots of river. We have seen many area is having a river, and it has now dried up. So we have used that land for building up the village, or building up the buildings, or school, or colleges, anything we have developed some infrastructure on that. So basically that land was meant for a water body, but due to extensive urbanization, we are we are changing all that floodplain zone, all that recharge point of the rivers, and we are converting into the land resources. We are using that water bodies into industrialization, and we are doing extensive deforestation. Is what? Cutting down the forest. Okay. Then next important issue is the siltation of rivers and lakes. What happens when we do extensive deforestation? Trees are cut, so the soil basically, what is the major of role of these trees? They bind the soil with the help of their root. If we cut the tree, then the soil become loose. Okay, so when the soil become loose, it will be it will be eroded. This is the process we called it as a erosion. So soil, we call it as soil erosion. Soil erosion is basically erosion of a soil either with the help of water or with the help of air, because if there is a if there is a bare land, then the soil can be easily removed from that area. You must have seen in the desert, you can see a lot of sand is revolving. It is like soil is eroding at that area. Why? Because there is no plant to hold that soil. So whenever deforestation is there, it is causing the soil to erode, and this soil will ultimately go to the rivers and lakes and cause siltation. You must have seen lot of in rivers and lakes, a lot of area is silted. You can see the water level is going down and the sand or silt is coming up. This is the process called siltation. Okay, so a lot of silt is there. So if there are more and more silt area, then the water holding capacity of that river and lake will be less. And what it will cause? It will cause the floods. So you can easily see everything is linked with each other. Forest is linked with the soil, soil is linked with the water, and water again is linked with the services given by by the water resources. Okay, so one of the major services given by water, river water, is holding the floods. If in an area a lot of water is there, it can cause flood. You know the floods. There are called floods and droughts. Flood is many of the countries, like in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a small country near India, and it is having major river system. Brahmaputra river is one of the major river, and there is frequent flood every year because of the heavy rainfall or because of the more of the water due to the water from combining from different rivers. So in the Bangladesh in itself, there is more of the flood, and in every year more than 75 million people across the world are affected due to the flood. I know in Africa there are very less flood, but yes, you might have seen more of the drought condition. Drought is the condition in which there is very less little rainfall. So because of the dry weather, more of the area is converted into deserts. So drought is, it can be natural also, and it can be due to human activity also. It can be in a particular area in a topographic settings, like in Sahara deserts is a natural topographic settings which is formed by the um, tectonic plates over the period of evolution of earth. Okay, but in many countries a lot of area are now converted into drought like situation. For example, in India, or in fact in Africa also, a lot of area, because of less rainfall and more of the deforestation, and less of the rainfall, the areas are slowly converted into drought-like situation. So what could be the measures for conservation? How we can conserve the water? How we can manage the water? How we can harvest the water? So the conservation, management, harvesting of water, we will understand now. So basically what is harvesting? Conserving and managing. Conserving means we are conserving the water. We are we are like, if we have uh, certain amount of water in an area, how we can use the management practice so that we can maintain that water. We all know water is a renewable sources, but due to human activities that is being converted into non-renewable sources. So we have to use some certain measures, certain management techniques so that we can harvest the water. So there are four major methods by which we can capture the water. Capture the water from rain. So this is a figure in which we can understand rain is coming and we are harvesting this water. So in the top of this house, we have to develop this slanting areas. Okay, so this slanting area will collect all the rainwater here, and a half round channel will be formed. So all the rainwater will be collected, then it will be again collected in this filter chamber, and from this filter chamber it will be collected in the major tank. So this is called rainwater water harvesting. So basically it is capturing the runoff water from the rooftop. So this is roof. So we are collecting from the rooftop. Second method is capture runoff from the catchment area. What is catchment area? See, in all the rivers, we have a lot of area which is covered with the catchment area, the area which is required for absorption of that rainwater. If we do not absorb that rainwater, then all the water will go within the river, and it will be ultimately rolled down and it will go to the ocean. So we have to capture that runoff with the proper management practice in the catchment area. So every river and streams, they have certain area which is called catchment area. As the name suggests, we have to catch that water. Okay, so these are the areas or where we can catch the area. These are also called as a watershed management area. So we have to use that area very judiciously. We should not use that area for building anything. We should keep it as a blank, so that that land should have ability to capture that rainwater. Okay, so how the rainwater can be used? So this is the method by which we are collecting the rainwater rooftop. Then we are collecting the water, then we are filtering it, and then we are storing in the main tank. And this water can be used for garden and garden watering. It can be used for toilet flush. It can be used for the car washing. It can be used for the cloth washing. Or else we can use this main tank to recharge our groundwater. Okay, so there are many use of this water which is harvested from the rainfall. Then second one is we have to catch every drop. So one of the method is called bamboo drip irrigations. It is very common in the area which is having a tropical rainforest. For example, in India, we are using this bamboo drip irrigation method very extensively. In the areas called, we have a state called Meghalaya, and in which we use this bamboo canes. These are, see, uh, these are the rocks. And what do? We use the bamboos within these rocks and we capture the water. So every drop of rain which is coming is captured here then and it is collected. So what is the practice? This is the practice. This is the process. The uh, we use this bamboos and we make a network like this. One bamboo, then another bamboo, then another bamboo, and we make a structure like this and we collect all the water which is from the rain. So in the areas which are having high rainfall, we collect all that water and we use it for a irrigation. So why we are using bamboo? What is so special about bamboo? Bamboo is a light, strong, and versatile and a durable plant. Sorry, I think someone is joining. Okay. So why bamboo? Bamboo is an environment friendly grass. You know this bamboo and it is very accessible and close to poor people. So we don't need an extra things. It is already available in the forest and it is self-renewable sources of nature. It is very fast growing. We can cut the bamboo and then again new bamboo can be formed. So it's a low cost material. It's a eco-friendly, environment friendly material. Okay, any questions about this? The next one is the next practice is how to desalinize the seawater. Many countries, like in Singapore, in Dubai, in most of the Gulf countries, there is a water scarcity, but they have enough of the seawater. All area is covered with the sea, so although the fresh water is less, but they have abundant seawater. So they have developed the technique of desalinization. In this desalinization technique, what basically is done, a glass chamber is formed. This is a glass chamber in which we put the seawater and due to sun rays, the water get evaporated and the salt content will be kept behind. So this will be a glass. So with the help of sun rays, water will evaporate. So when the water will evaporate, only the water content will be evaporating. Salt content will be left behind. So the water which is evaporated, these are ultimately collected here. And this will be a distilled water. Let us understand this in a more detailed manner. There are three steps of a desalinization process. Three steps. The first step is called pretreatment. Second step is called reverse osmosis. And the third step is called conditioning of the water. So what in this process? we collect the ocean water, then we pre-treat. What is the pre-treatment? We clean it, we filter this water, and all the suspended solid and particular particles will be filtered. So after filtration, then reverse osmosis process will happen. What is reverse is osmosis process? It is the process by which the membranes are used, and the dissolved salt, because we know that what is the ocean water? Ocean water is the water which is having a high salt content. So what is our aim? To remove that salt from the ocean water and to convert into the fresh water. So the process of desalinization is basically removing the salt from a ocean water. So we use the these membranes, and we remove the salt and impurities from the water. After that, minerals and chemicals are added so that it is good for consumption. Because we cannot directly drink a distilled water. It should have certain minerals. Potassium should be there. Small amount of calcium should be there. Minerals should be there so that it should be absorbed by. It should have certain taste. Okay. So this was the desalinization. Then what is the next method? Next method is we can reduce the overconsumption of water, or we can treat the wastewater. How we can treat the wastewater? There are many methods for that. We can treatment can be done with the carbon dioxide, with the hydrogen sulfide, by the process called purification. Then next is the using the chlorination. The water which is treated with the chlorines is called chlorination, and basically it kills all the harmful germs in water. So basically, the waste water from our industrial, they are properly treated, and then they are chlorinated to get the, so that it can be used for human purpose. So all the nitrate, phosphate, these are added, these are removed, and then these water becomes clear. Then what is the water management techniques? Water management technique is that we should recharge our groundwater areas, and we should divert the area from an area of surplus to scarcity area. For example, if certain area is having more of the water, then we should divert that water into the area which is having less of the water. Then next we come to the land resources. After water resources, next important renewable resource is land resources. But though land resources is a renewable resources, still when we use it extensively, it may become non-renewable resources because of the poor management practices. Why land is important? Land is important for everything, for all the life. We need land for building houses. We need land for agriculture. We need land for building the industries. Similarly, other life forms like animals also require land. So we are living on this land, and we are managing the land resources. We are clearing the forest and converting into urbanized area. This is causing damage to the land resources. So what is the damages to the land resources? One of the most important land resource is soil. Soil is basically very important because everything depends on the uh, soil. We need soil for agriculture. So, and basically, it is the uppermost part of the land area, and it is having all the land resources. It is having essential systems by which it can form the food. Soil is also having the capability to hold everything. It can hold plants, it can hold building, it can hold water system. So it is soil is very important resource which we are getting from land. How soil is formed basically? Soil is formed from rock. You must have seen very uh, mm, rocky area, and then near that rocky area you can see small and small green area where the soil is formed. So essentially in nature the formation of soil occurs from the weathering of rocks. So the process of soil formation starts with the weathering of rocks. So what is weathering? It is the natural process by which rock is converted into soil. So weathering process can be three types. It can be physical, it can be chemical, or it can be a biological process. So basically what is weathering? Weathering is a process by which we can convert rock to soil with the help of three processes: physical, biological and chemical. Let us understand about these three processes in detail. What is physical? Again, like in science, we say every terminology is with respect to the word. So physical means any mechanical forces. So when we break two rocks, it is converted into small rock. When we pound a rock, it is converted into small rocks. Then again we grind it. Then again it will form the soil. So in nature, what happens? In nature, basically many of the physical features like temperature, they will cause changes in the rock. So in the area, you must have seen many plants which grow from the rock. So how does that happen? Basically, due to temperature fluctuation, cracks develop on that rock, and within that crack, slowly, soil will form. And when the soil will form, then plant can form. Okay, so one of the major physical parameter is temperature. So temperature can expand and contract the rocks. So when their temperature is less, the water will get frozen. Water in that rock will get frozen. And when the temperature will be high, it will slowly evaporate. So it will break that rock. So this is, we are using physical process of converting rock to the smaller rocks, big rocks to the smaller rocks. So this is called physical process. Then next comes the chemical weathering. What is chemical weathering? Chemical weathering is weathering which happens because of the chemicals. So all the soil, all the rocks, they have certain they have certain chemicals. Like you must have seen different kind of rocks. Some rocks are red in color, some rocks are brown in color, some rocks are dark brown in color, some rocks are black in color. What is all that makes them color? Basically, it is the minerals of that rocks, chemicals of that rocks. So any area which is having high iron content, it will be slightly reddish in color. You must have seen in different area there are different type of soil, different colors of rocks, different colors of soil. This all depends on the geographic geographic area of that area. Oh, sorry, of the geographic rocks of that area, geology of that area. Okay, geology is basically study of rocks of a particular area, because all the life forms start from the rocks. So basically, chemical weathering is converting using the chemical agents to further break down rock into the soil. So what are the chemical process? Chemical process is again using the water or the dissolved agents, then temperature, and because of the water temperature, hydrolysis can occur. See, in a small area rock, if water is there, so it will start reacting with the rocks. It will start reacting with the chemicals of that rocks. So this is basically called hydrolysis, in which the water which is converted into the hydrogen ion and hydroxyl ion. Sorry. And it act on the silicate and the orthoclase to produce silicate clays. So these are the chemical process. So chemical weathering is basically process in which the rocks are converted into by using the chemical methods. Then the last one is called biological weathering. So what is biological weathering? Biological is weathering is having two main process: mineralization and humification. Any doubts on these things? Anyone can ask if they have anything. I know it is more of scientific, but still I am keeping it very simple so that you can understand it. Any doubts till now? What is chemical weathering? What is physical weathering?
Not, no any doubts.
Okay. I think you must are understanding. The third next process is mineralization and humification. Basically, after a physical process, physical weathering, rocks are converted into smaller rocks. So now biological agents they come into the play. So so the living plants, biological plants, they start the process. Let us understand what is humification, mineralization, and humification. So basically, when the soil formation occur, the organic matter. In last class, we understood about what is organic matter. What is organic? Anything which is anything which is from the living organisms. So when the plant, animal, they die, they form the organic matter. When we people also die, we will form the organic matter. Okay. So when we die, they help in the process of the converting into rock into the soil. How? Because in the soil we have algae, lichens, mosses, small plants. You must have seen moss, green color moss. They are present on the rocks, and the lichens. Lichens are basically a fusion of algae and fungi. So these plants they grow on rocks, and with the help of their roots they carry out biological activity, and they grow, they use the water and convert into, they expand and they dead and decay. Okay, so they will form during this process called humus is formed, which is a dark colloidal substance, which is the form of nutrient for all the soil organisms. What I will make you understand with the help of a example. Like we develop a compost. Okay, like we use kitchen waste, and we keep on building small waste material on that. After some time, it will be converted into compost. So this is the process called humification and mineralization, in which the complex organic matter is converted into minerals form. See, this is the, with the help of diagram, it will be more clear now. So this is our plants. Plant is having root system. So this plant is having root system, and when the plant will die, or with the help of roots, they, with the help of soil organism and microorganism, they form the humus. Okay, so using the soil microorganisms they can form this dark composite called humus. This is called process, the formation of humus is called humification. Further, this humification can be acted upon by the more polymers and enzymes, and these are form the minerals. So the minerals will be used by the plants. Okay, so this entire process is cyclic in nature. Now, what are the how the land resources are affected? Land resources are affected due to the many of the human practices, like we are using traditional agriculture, but due to extensive agriculture, we have changed the soil structure, soil erosion, and many of the modern agriculture they have also disrupted our land. So land degradation is the process of degradation of the quality of our land. So many human activities like deforestation, farming, damming of river, industrialization, mining, development activity, human activity, they all have caused uh, degradation in the land and changing in the land use pattern. With the help of these so many land use patterns and land degradation, more of the wasteland are being developed. Okay, so when we use poor management practice of a land, more of the wasteland are going to develop. So we should use this our huge land resources very efficiently. So wasteland development, if the wasteland has been developed, so again we should use the management practice so that we can redevelop that land. So again, we should use certain soil and water management techniques by which we can develop plant species and then again develop the forest. So more degradation, then we should have more of the soil and management practices so that we should preserve our soil. So let us understand how we can manage our soil, because our soil is very important. And so we have to manage our soil by two process: by checking the soil erosion, and second is productivity, enhancing the productivity of soil. So what are the measures for soil erosion? I already told you why soil erosion occurs. Soil erosion occurs when we have trees and we have cut down the trees and the land is without having a plant, so that soil is exposed and soil is eroded. Okay. So what could be the control measure? Simple. In that area, we should grow grass. We should grow small trees. We should grow shrubs. So when we develop grass, sorry, when we plant grass, trees, then again their root will bind the soil. So when the soil will be bind, then the soil erosion will be controlled. Okay. So the first method is to grow the grass, shrubs and trees. Let us understand what are the forest resources which we are getting from our forest. From our forest we are getting timber, firewood, fruits, drugs, cosmetics things, then raw material which can be used in our industries. Deforestation is what? It is the process of removing the forest. Almost 21% of the forest are indigenous forest. Okay. And the World Resource Institute, they have said that deforestation is the world's most pressing land use problems. Okay, what is that? We are converting more, we are cutting down more and more of the land sources, sorry, forest, and convert it into other land forms. And if this practice is continued, it is it is estimated that by 2030 we will lose all our moist tropical forest. So basically, what are the why we are cutting our forest? We are cutting forest for having land for agriculture. We are cutting them for mining activity. We are cutting them to have more of the human settlements. We are cutting forest for development of land, railway tracks. Like when we develop a road, when we develop a railway track, a lot of area, a lot of forests are cut. Then we are also causing timber extraction. Most of the trees are cut down for timbers, for developing wood furnitures. Then mining, a lot of area is having good mines. So to extract that mine from the soil, like if certain area is having good amount of mineral deposit, good amount of uranium, thorium, or any mineral which is importance for our industrial process or any of the human consumption. So we For mining that area, we have to clear that forest. And with the help of blasting that area, we are destroying that complete forest. Then we are also destroying our forest by constructing the dams. And we are also destructing the forest for many irrigation projects or thermal irrigation, these things. Many of the tribal population, and it is more common in your Africa also, in your country also, and it is equally important in our India also. A lot of tribes are completely dependent on the forest, and it is often seen that if we remove that forest, that tribes are being lost, because the tribal people are completely dependent on that forest. They are dependent on their forest for the food, medicinal values, and for everything they are getting from the forest. So, to preserve that tribal population, it is very important that we should conserve our forest. And it has seen that there are many informal economic practices also, like agriculture, zoom cultivation, and we are extracting forest produce. There are many medicinal plants, many edible flowers which can occur only in the forest. It is not possible that you can plant, you can grow that medicinal herb in your home, in your garden. Okay, so forests are very important for development of any herbs, or their medicinal value depends from where that herbs are collected. For example, a plant which is growing in a forest, and the same plant which is grown in the in a urban city, in a city forest. Okay, in so the quality of the fruit which is uh, which is beared by that plant will differ. Similarly, the medicinal value differ. So there are many things which we get from the forest. Many edible flowers, many fruits, which we can grow only in the forest. It is not possible that we can do the cultivation there. So, in order to protect their rights, in our country, we have a scheduled tribes and other tribal forest dwellers act also to conserve their rights. So, in the last, we will just understand what is the forest resources. We how we can conserve or manage resources. The first thing is that we should stop deforestation. Second thing is that we should reduce our dependence on forest for timber, for firewood, for forest produce. Okay, we should use many of the non-timber sources, many of the fuel wood which we cannot which can be used by non-forest sources. Like there are many smokeless chulhas are developed, gas system are developed, in which we do not require the firewood from the forest. Okay, so we should have more of these technologies, more of these eco-friendly products, so that we should reduce our dependence on forest produce. Second thing is that we should bring more area into the forest plantation. If we have more of the forest plantation, then slowly, a period of time, the forest will develop and it will ultimately form the dense forest. And also we should have certain areas of forest which we can reserve for the timber production. Like if we need forest for timber, so we can develop a certain area of land for timber production. We should not disturb the dense forest for cutting the timbers. Okay, so we can convert certain area into that forest timber production. So we should use certain management techniques so that we can conserve our forest resources. And we should use sustainable management of forest. Very important to manage our forest. One of these process is joint forest management. This is one of the practice which is being followed in our India, in which the people which are dependent on forest, they have been told कि it is your resource. So you have to conserve that area. You have to conserve that forest. So joint forest management is basically a technique in which the local community which are dependent on the forest and the government part, the forest department, they come together and they protect the rights, and the benefits are mutually shared. So the people will conserve the forest because they are dependent on the forest. So they have rights and benefits over the forest. So this is end for this session. And in next session, we will learn about the unit 6, that is biodiversity. So any student, any learners, they have any questions, so they can ask.
For my side, I don't have any question.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one remaining in the class.
Yeah, a lot of students join, but I think they have left it.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank
Okay,
you so much
so
for the.
yeah, if you know, I think you are able to understand now whatever I am teaching.
Come again?
Yeah, you are able to understand now. I have made it very
Yes.
simple.
Yes, I have understood.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
If you have any doubts, you can ask in next section also.
All
Okay.
right. All right. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Welcome.
Ishka.